Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to make a much needed video for YouTube, and this video is going to be the Discus care guide that works. Okay, there's a couple other videos out there, Discus care guides, and I find they're basic, almost shallow, and the information in them is not only vague but pretty much useless. There's a lot of people that think they know how to look after discus. I may be one of them, but I'm pretty sure I know what to do now. It's been a year and a half, and I've been stumbling through things. So we're going to make the Discus North care guide for discus, and this is not going to be like the rest of them because I don't agree with them. So here we go. What are some of the things you need to know to keep a discus successfully? Well, I'm sure a lot of people watching this video probably just set up a tank. You probably maybe even just bought yourself a nice brand new 120-gallon tank. Maybe it's one of the Aqueons that have the I hear all the 120 Aqueons are set up as reef tanks, so you can have a sump easily on one of those. And anyhow, when you see something like that, you think to yourself, like I did when I saw this tank, that would make a great discus tank. Well, if you just set it up, you're not ready. And that's true for a lot of fish, but it's more true for these fish. Okay? So if that's where you're at this point in stage, I suggest you go buy yourself about 12 of these black neons. They're hardy fish. They normally don't show up with disease. Rummy nose is a different story. They show up with disease a lot of times. You can go with them too, but I would just buy the black neons because they've got immune systems like tanks, and you're less likely to bring something home with them. So get yourself a school of 10 or 12 of those, pop them in your brand new tank, and leave them there for a month. You're not ready yet. Now, if your tank is cycled, and it truly takes, for a larger tank, about 6 months to actually cycle it right. So 2 or 3 weeks isn't really going to help you much. But if you're in a hurry and you really got to do it quick, you should be cycling with a product called Chem Stability. Use it as directed on the bottle. Do that for at least a week to your system as directed. Then do like a near 100% water change. Wait another 3 days after that water change, and then you should be in decent shape as long as you've been running adequate filtration and everything else. And now, this is something no one ever talks about, is filtration. Okay? The name of the game is overfilter, 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 and then overfilter again. Filtration and filtration redundancy is key. Instead of buying yourself one big penguin, the big penguin that has two shoots coming out, buy two smaller ones. And you'll actually get more flow out of the two separate ones because you've got two motors instead of one, and you can separate them. But most importantly, should one clog or should one fail, you have a second of the same thing going. Okay, I've got a UV here in the corner, sort of a lightweight. It's a 9 watt. It helps. It does the job. It's also got a filtration device in it, right? So that's 3 filters. Then I used to have a UV over in this corner, but we switched that one up to something more strong. Then I've got a sump, which is overflowing down there. The sump is coming down here. It's packed, chocked full with biomedia. of every flavor and kind I can think of. Sponges making a wall in the middle, block the light. Now on this side we have a pond grade UV. Okay? So you need filtration. Like you've never filtered before. And you need strong UV. You need something 13 watts and up, because that disinfects. It doesn't just sterilize. This pond guy is so strong it disinfects the water. It will kill waterborne disease. And these fish have weak immune systems. Not all of them. They just have a really high, it's almost like a birth defect in them, a bad gene. And they get weak immune system, not weak to everything. Seems to be weak to bacteria, okay? And a lot of filtration systems out there, out of the box, are not going to help you solve a bacteria problem. If you don't want to get stuck buying thousands of dollars a year medication for these fish, if you don't want to watch them die on you, or half of them die on you and half of them live, because I'll tell you right now, without the UV, okay, your loss rate will sit somewhere around 60% if you're buying babies, maybe even higher, maybe even probably a lot higher than 60%. But I don't want to discourage you. If you're buying 3-inch babies and you don't run adequate UV, okay, and you spent $80 a baby and you bought 20 of them, kiss 10 of them goodbye, minimum. That's how it's going to be. You could sit there and be like a dozen other people I've dealt with when it comes to these fish. I suggest, look, bud, I don't want to insult you, because apparently it's an insult to suggest someone use UV. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all, because it's a tool, and it's a good tool for these fish. But anyway, there's a culture of I'm too good for UV out there. Yeah, okay, yeah. Well then, you be too good for the UV. You think your bulbs are going to last forever. You just let them last forever. You got to change them regularly. If you buy these guys in the corner, they need to be changed every couple months. The pond guy down here, he'll need to be changed about every 4 months. $20 for that entire unit, and it will sterilize your water for 4 months. So you got to come up with solid UV protection. That is the number one thing that will help you win. That's the number one thing that will save you money. You drop that $20, it will save you hundreds in medication costs. Now, if you watch my other videos, you'll see me prove that through trial and error, of course, but I learned the hard way, and that's why I'm making this video, the Discus Care video. And your number one friend is a 13 watt plus UV. That one's made for a pond. It's very dangerous. It has no shield on it. I keep it in my sump where I can't see it, so it doesn't matter. If I was to put it in my tank, it would kill all my fish. So I would have to create a shield to allow no light to escape, water to flow in and out. And you can do that just with a piece of PVC pipe, a drill with a few holes in the back, so that the holes face the glass, and caps on each end, and then just buy a $10 wave maker power head, stuff it in one end, you're done. Pop that in your tank, sterilized water. You need that sterilized water, trust me on that one. Biggest key point for these fish is anything you can do, every layer of protection. When it comes to water quality, you want to take it. You can have plants if you run a UV. You can have gravel. You should gravel vac every week. You should clean your filters out every week. You should not run a canister filter because they're not designed to be cleaned every week. Discus hate moam. So a big old 8-month dirty canister filter going to kill your fish. A lot of people minds are going to explode when I say that, but it's the truth. You get something like flukes and you have a canister filter, you'll never get rid of the flukes with these fish. because they'll escape treatment in your canister filter, and they'll come right back every freaking time. You'll see flukes every few weeks if you run canister filter with these fish, and somehow flukes make it into your tank. You'll lose them all. So you stick with the hang-on backs. You clean the hang-on backs thoroughly every week. You clean all filtration. Like, you don't even worry about the biocycle in your filters. Your filters, you sacrifice the biology in them. You clean them because you have a sump down here, and the sump has all the biomedia you require. Period. So foods, you don't have to buy $50 foods. You can get this stuff, the smaller bottles, $9 Canadian a month, probably $5 American a month. Some of the best stuff I've used. I've used some of the higher names. Look at them getting excited. Look at them getting excited. I'm holding it up. They know what this. They love it. It's like a drug to them, and it gives them really good color. And every time I buy a baby, I'm feeding it, proteins at first because they're fussy. They're always fussy at first. So, you get them on the shrimp, you get them on the bloodworms, they eat all that just fine, but they don't grow on that. They won't grow. Then, I'm feeding all the rest of the fish this and these flakes here. I buy the pond ones. They're great. They're cheap, $8 for that big thing. Canadian, probably $5 again for the big one in pond flakes. And they're color enhancing as well. So both these foods are color enhancing foods. They're cheap. And basically, once they get on those pellets, once they decide I'm going to eat that, they grow like a bad weed. Just watch my videos for this whitefish. You'll see that he was only on these pellets a few weeks ago, and boom, he's almost as big as the rest of them. And he was a 3-inch fish when he started eating them. Same with this orange guy. It just goes on and on. You can watch it. You can watch it through my history. All my newest fish are growing like bad weeds. This guy is not even that old. Look at him. He went on pellets right away. He's catching right up. This guy hasn't been here very long. Look at the size of him. It's so cycled tank. Keep your temperatures above 85. You never want them to fall below 85. Another layer of protection. Why do I say that? Because a lot of parasites cannot function above 85 degrees. So if they make it into your tank, they go dormant, they starve to death, and they die if you keep your temperature above 85 degrees. And what I mean by above is don't set it to 85 on your heater controller, because then it'll drop to 84 before the heaters kick in. So you want to set it to 86, and in the wintertime I set it to 87 because my room gets a little cold, so I want that buffer. I want that extra 1 degree buffer because the tank's going to cool down a lot quicker in the winter. Always be above 85 degrees. Very important. If you keep these fish cold, some people tell you, some videos will tell you can run these fish at 82 degrees. If you do that, you might lose them all. You might lose them all. It'll look like they're doing okay for a week or two or maybe 3, and then they die because they've been fighting too hard to stay warm. They're using up all their energy. Their immune system's weakened. Then the things that are in your system, and trust me, we all have disease in our tanks, okay? The only thing that keeps it out of the fish is being healthy and happy and strong. And when they're healthy and happy and strong, their immune systems keep the garbage out. That's all there is to it. So you also want to pre-treat your barrels. Get a couple of I got mine used rain barrels. Are $200 new each Canadian. I bought 3 of them for $200 used. So and then I got a 4th just free. And so the other 2 are downstairs, 2 are up here. You got heaters in them, they got sponge filters in them, they got gravel in them. They're essentially tanks, the fish tanks that we can't see into. And I run them, And when I do my water, there's 120 gallons in the two of those. About that here. So you don't want to fill your tank after water change with Discus. A lot of times tap water will come with micro bubbles, and those micro bubbles alone are a big problem because Discus have the different slime coat than other fish. And when the micro bubbles are all floating in your water, they'll attach to the Discus and it'll lift off their slime coats. You'll see it, it'll peel, it'll look like they've got the plague. That's bad. That's bad. The slime coat is their immune system. So if you strip them every time you do a water change with micro bubbles and their slime coat's falling off, it'll come back in a few hours. But for that few hours, they're vulnerable. So that's another way to kill your fish. So always pre-treat your water, let it rest, let it roll with some sponge filters and some air stones and some heaters so that the temperature match with your tank, and then you do your water change with your barrel water. So every time you I do a water change up here, comes out of the barrels, then I fill the barrels with the hose, and I treat them, and they wait a couple days for my next water change. Right now I'm doing water change about every 4 days. Seems to be the perfect amount of time where I'm not excessively doing it, and the water conditions stay perfect, and the fish grow fast, and so on. So that's where I'm at, but my tank is seasoned. Now, if my tank was less than 6 months old, I would be doing water changes nearly every day. I wouldn't go longer than 2 days. And that's how you'll have to be in the first year. You're going to have to do regular water changes until your tank catches up to the bioload and the fish. As the fish get older, you don't have to do as many either. That's part of what I'm noticing now. My fish are getting larger, so they can put up with more. You really have to be Johnny on the spot with your water changes when you have young fish, because they're weak, and you got to keep them strong. And if you don't, and they start struggling immune system wise, well, they'll crash and die real fast. So I might be making these fish sound hard, but they're not. They're not hard. You just need the right gear and the right process, basically, and then they're as easy as anybody else. But you cannot treat them like your everyday African cichlid. They're not as hardy, and they can be delicate. Oh, these are another good thing to get. These are called pygmy cuckoo catfish. I can't remember their scientific name, Pensacola something or other, but they will clean the Discus for you. So what we saw just right there was they'll come out if they see a piece of dead skin or even a parasite on your Discus's skin. They'll swim up and they'll eat it off. They won't harm the fish at all. And the reason they do that is because they use cichlids to, like cuckoo catfish, like the cuckoo bird. They'll lay their eggs near cichlids and use cichlids to then the catfish's eggs will hatch first. Babies will go up, eat all the cichlid eggs, and then the parents will raise the cuckoo catfish's babies. So the cuckoo catfish have a vested interest in the health of their cichlids, and they will groom them. So that's just adding those fish to your Discus tank is another layer of protection. Every layer is what you want when you're dealing with fish that as adults will sell for $300 a pop, right? You got thousands of dollars worth of fish in your tank. You don't take a risk on, this sponge filter works for all of my other fish. I only need a sponge filter. Here you go. Sponge filter and a canister filter. Wrong combination. You can run that canister filter. It'll do a good job for a while. But what's going to happen is you're going to do what everybody else does with the canister filter, and you're just not going to change it for 6 months. And sometime along the way, things are just going to get too sour for these fish, and you're going to start having sickness and disease. So, canister filters are great for every other fish in I can think of, to be honest. Maybe not a flower horn. I wouldn't run one on a flower horn either. Any fish that's like that, ornamental and easily stressed, you don't want a canister filter. So it's more work to look after hang-on backs, but that's the idea. Cleaning it every week is the idea here, and that's why a canister filter is bad for these fish, in my opinion. So it's not like it won't work. I'm not saying they don't work. I'm saying that the way that people behave and the way that they're difficult to deal with will push you into not cleaning it as much as you should. And if you did clean a canister filter as much as you should, they're not designed to be opened on a weekly basis. So you're going to blow your seals, you're going to have a flood. Just, if you're going discus, hang on backs, internal filters, and a sump. Filtration, filtration, filtration. As much of it as you can. There's no such thing as over-filtering a tank. Always use more than one heater. I got one in the sump, I got one up here. Always check them. Occasionally put your hands on them, make sure they're producing heat. They're both producing heat. Always use a heater controller, because your heaters are going to be active and they're going to be warm, and the built-in heater controllers on them always fail. So just use an external one. Save yourself that heartache. And you'll wake up one day and your fish will be cold and dead, or you'll wake up one day and they'll be cooked and dead without one of those. So just don't even go there. Too expensive. It's always about layers of protection. So I think we've covered food, we've covered water changes, we've covered filtration. They need good oxygen in their water too, which is why I run an air stone. Not that the air stones bring oxygen in. What it does is just mixing the water better. It's bringing all of the gases that might be trapped down low up to the surface and letting them escape the tank. So, methane and all sorts of waste gases. The air stone is important to help that get to the surface and get away from your fish, instead of a thin layer of it collecting along the bottom and fouling your water. So, dark backgrounds don't matter. That's a myth. It only matters if you're breeding, because of the babies. It has absolutely nothing to do with them showing worse color or anything of that nature. That's all nonsense. My fish have all shown perfect, brilliant colors with a dark background. If they're not showing perfect colors, it's because they're not feeling well, or they're too young. See, he's coming back. His bars were very black yesterday, and they were sick. I had two of these that were sick. So he's just young, this one, and he's starting to drop his bars now. He's only a 6-7 month old fish, but obviously very young, hasn't even colored up yet. This one was sick as well. It's the worst off one now, but it's getting better. It's gaining weight. His eyes are clear. And the rest of them pretty much don't show any bars because they're happy and they're healthy. So, always above 85 degrees. Feed them a mixed diet of everything you can pretty much get them to eat. Go with color enhancing foods. Pre-treat your water changes. Double your heat. Always have redundancy, whether it be heaters, filters, so on. Always do it where there's more than one of them running. Even my lights, split into 2 light bars. One fails, the other one will still be there. I've even got backup power supply units. That's not necessary, but if you can add redundancy to your system, that's another one right there. You can add redundancy to your system. Add it. Add it. These aren't goldfish. I think I've driven the point home. Hopefully this video helps people out. helps people keep their fish alive, because we all fall victim to, hey, I've kept fish all my life. I'm not going to have any problem with these discus. And then you treat them like all the rest of the fish you kept, and then they die on you. That's a hard lesson we all have to learn with these fish if you want to get into them. And hopefully the tips I've left you here today will help you keep more of them alive than I was able to. You know, I should have like close to 30 fish right now if I didn't take any losses. I only got about 17. So just so you know what you're getting yourself into. If you've got things dialed in right and you've got the right gear, you're not going to have the losses I did. I bring a fish home now, it survives every time. And it does well every time. But I didn't know all the stuff I know now a year ago and a year and a half ago. And I had to learn it because all of the videos and the information out there is trash. And it led me to failure. So don't be afraid of these fish. You just gotta make the right decisions. And that's what I'm trying to do with this channel, is help you all make the right decisions. Thank yous for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.